Good morning. St. Thomas Aquinas is proud to present math skills for standardized tests, produced by the EDGE in Standardized Testing. Those standardized tests include the PSAT, the SAT, and the ACT. Every Tuesday, we'll be going over math skills relevant to standardized testing, and we will start this Tuesday by discussing what to expect on these standardized tests and how they are different. Let's begin with the new PSAT. The new PSAT will be given for the first time on October 14th, 2015. Analyzing and understanding the important aspects of this test is the first step to preparing for it. One thing that hasn't changed is that for you juniors, this will be your opportunity to become a national merit finalist. We'll discuss the format, the content, and the scoring of the math section of this new PSAT. Format. The math section will be separated into two categories. The first category is a no calculator test, which you'll have 25 minutes to do 17 questions. Numbers 1 through 13 are multiple choice. 14 through 17 are grid-in questions. The next category is a calculator-based test, where you'll have 45 minutes to do 31 questions. Numbers 1 through 27 are multiple choice. Numbers 28 through 31 are grid-in questions. It's important to note that there are only 4 choices now and no penalty for guessing, meaning no question should ever be left blank. The content. The content can be separated into two main categories, topics and characteristics. Let's start with the topics. They include the heart of algebra, which is really linear equations and systems of equations. Problem solving and data analysis, which is your ability to be quantitatively literate. Passport to advanced math, which is the manipulation of complex equations. And additional topics in math, which include geometry and trig. It's important to note that probability and statistics are integrated within these other topics. Now, the new PSAT, we'd like to mention, will be mostly algebraic based. There will be a lot of problem solving and data analysis, and a little bit of passport to advanced math and additional topics. However, all 4 topics will be covered. Characteristics. The problems will be multi-step word problems, or at least most of them will be, based on real-world applications. They will test your literal and conceptual comprehension, and your fluency, or in other words, your ability to perform mathematical operations efficiently and accurately. Scoring the new PSAT. They'll provide you with several different scores. Your section score, which is really your overall math score, will be from 160 to 760. Your test score, which is your math subject score, will be from 8 to 38. Your percentile is the percent of students that your score was equal to or better than. So if you scored, for example, in the 99th percentile, that means your score was equal to or better than 99% of other students. Now, as far as national merit goes and colleges are concerned, the section score is probably the most important. Cross-test scores. You will receive 2 separate cross-test scores. One is an analysis in history and social studies, the other an analysis in science. These are based on questions within the test that center around those subjects, meaning although you be tested on math skills within the math section, the topics of these questions might be history and social studies or science. You'll receive a score of 8 to 38 for each analysis. Then you'll receive subscores. Subscores are very important because they're topic scores within the math section. These topics include heart of algebra, problem solving and data analysis, passport to advanced math. You'll receive a score of 1 to 15 for each topic. These are important because it lets you know how you're doing within the math section on particular types of problems. The new SAT will be given for the first time on March 5th, 2016. Analyzing and understanding the important aspects of this test is the first step to preparing for it. We'd like to recommend that all juniors wait until March to take the SAT this year. That way, the test you're prepping for, which is the new SAT, is the same one that you'll take. Any SATs taken before March 5th, 2016 will be the old format. And when we discuss this, again discussing the math section format, content, and scoring, we're going to point out the similarities and the minor differences between the SAT and the PSAT. Much of the test is the same. With format, again, no calculator and a calculator section. You'll notice the main change here is the SAT is a little bit longer and has a few extra questions. No calculator section is 25 minutes for 20 questions. Calculator section, 55 minutes, 38 questions. Some are multiple choice, some are grid-ins. But again, very important to note, only 4 choices and no penalty for guessing. No question should be left blank. Content is the same. Heart of algebra, problem-solving data analysis, passport to advanced math, additional topics in math. Again, probability and stats will be integrated within the other topics. The one change here is, although the SAT will still be mostly algebraic based, it is important to note that they will stress passport to advanced math and additional topics in math a little bit more than they did on the PSAT. So topics 3 and 4 will be slightly more important than they were previously. The characteristics are the same. Multi-step word problems, real-world applications, literal and conceptual comprehension, and fluency. Scoring. Although the topics of the scores are the same, you'll see that the ranges change a little bit. The section score will be from 200 to 800. That's the score we usually concentrate on. The test score, your math subject score, will be from 10 to 40. And you'll have your percentile. We will again have cross-test scores, except this time the cross-test scores will be from 10 to 40 for each analysis. And a very important score will be your sub-scores, 1 to 15 for each topic, letting you know how you're doing within the math section, what topics you're struggling on, what topics you're doing well on. The ACT. The ACT is another standardized test that colleges will use to determine which students will be accepted. Analyzing and understanding the important aspects of this test is the first step to preparing for it. We're going to talk about the format, the content, and the scoring of the math section of the ACT. Format. There's only one math section on the ACT. They give you 60 minutes to answer 60 questions, roughly an average of 1 minute per question. You will have 5 choices for each question, but again, no penalty for guessing. Calculator is permitted, but it's not necessary, meaning overuse of a calculator might be to your detriment. Basic formulas and computation skills are assumed. However, complex formulas and computation skills are not required. The content can be, again, divided into topics and characteristics. Now, you notice with these topics, they are titled differently, but the topics cover relatively the same things that the SAT and PSAT did. Your first 3 topics are pre-algebra, elementary algebra, and intermediate algebra. The next 2 topics are coordinate geometry and plane geometry. And the last is trig. Important to note that this test will include material and content typically acquired in courses taken up to grade 12. And that's something we'd like to stress, that what you do in the classroom is now very relevant to your standardized testing. The characteristics are the same as the PSAT and SAT. Multi-step word problems, real-world applications, literal and conceptual comprehension, and fluency. The ACT scoring is different. They'll provide you with several different scores. First, and probably most important, is your test score. That's your math section score, except it's scored from 1 to 36. This is derived from the sub-scores that we're about to talk about and will be listed below, but they're not directly related, meaning you don't simply just add them up. Your sub-scores are your topic scores within the math section. Topics include pre-algebra and elementary algebra as one topic, intermediate algebra and coordinate geometry as another, plane geometry and trig as the last topic. Again, indicating how you're doing within the test. You'll receive a score of 1 to 18 for each topic. Next thing your score report will have is your rank. This is the same thing as your percentile. Finally, your composite score. Your composite score is the average of your 4 test scores. Those 4 test scores are in the subjects of English, math, reading, and science. And again, it will be from 1 to 36. Within these math skills, one thing we'd like to point out is that the math skills needed are the same on all these tests, as you should have noticed, the PSAT, SAT, and ACT. And the good news is we will practice these math skills every Tuesday until we've mastered them. The skills will also be reviewed and tested within your math classes. And the videos seen on Tuesday mornings can also be accessed via Blackboard, meaning there is no excuse to not receive your math lessons. Now we know that understanding and mastering math skills for standardized tests can be difficult, but we'd like to remind you that with practice comes perfection, and hopefully we'll achieve this together. We'll see you next week. Thank you.